Bleeding purple and gold. From the heart of Los Angeles, this is the LakersNation.com podcast with your host, Trevor Lane.
Hello, Lakers Nation. Welcome to the show. As always, we are powered by CLNS Media and LakersNation.com, your home for everything Lakers. Today's show is brought to you by Vivid Seats, the official ticket reseller of Lakers Nation. All you have to do is open up that Vivid Seat app on your phone, plug in the promo code LakersNation in all caps, get 10% off tickets to your next Lakers game. There's only a few games left in the season, so take advantage of it. Go check it out, as well as betonline.ag, who I'll be talking about in just a bit. Well, kudos to you. If you're here listening to this show at this point in the season, it's been a tough season. I know a lot of Lakers fans have called it quits at this point. The Lakers are not making the playoffs. As of this recording, there's only 4 games left in the season. A lot of people are looking forward to the season being over. So if you're still here, still listening to all of our Lakers talk, congratulations on gutting it out. It's been a tough season. Consider yourself a diehard fan, because that's certainly what we are here. And joining me today is one of my favorite diehard Lakers fans, Alan Slewa from ESPN, host of Lakers Talk. Alan, thank you so much for joining me and for commiserating through this season with me.
You got it, Trev. Only 4 games left. Is that the count now? Is that where we're at?
That's where we're at. 4 games.
April 9th couldn't have come any sooner. Unfortunately, but that's just the way this year has gone.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. It's not the way we expected things to go at all. But Alan, you know what? Whenever we come on, we've always remarked how you and I could talk about Lakers basketball forever. I've felt my enthusiasm wane a little bit over the last couple of weeks. It's really hit me these last few weeks, and it's been a bit more of a grind. Are you there, or do you still have that full Alan Slewa enthusiasm for Lakers basketball right now?
No, I mean, listen, it's I think as you can kind of gauge it as just a regular fan. I mean, you know, since you kind of knew that this team was completely heading in the wrong direction, then they started shutting down some of the players. Obviously Lonzo Ball, the situation with Brandon Ingram. Once you pretty much knew that there was nothing left to play for, 100%, the energy in this season went away. Now, that doesn't mean that the storylines and the topics are not, obviously already what's going to happen when the season ends. Is the coach going to stick around? What the Lakers going to do in the offseason? I think all those stories are still kind of on top of mind, but the reality of watching these games right now, it's definitely been a tough watch.
I'll tell you what's been difficult. It's been difficult for me, and I know it's been difficult for a lot of fans. I've wound up muting a number of people, even some national media members, because of the negativity. It's felt like so many around the league are so excited to be able to pile on the Lakers, and I guess rightfully so. I mean, 16 championships, they've got this history of success and everything, but there's this just giddiness from other fan bases around the league that the Lakers are struggling right now, even though they have LeBron James, and I think that's been kind of wearing on me, in addition to everything going on with the team themselves.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a few different franchises that are out there. Some of them not even that successful recently. The Dallas Cowboys, the New York Yankees, the Man Uniteds. I mean, these powerful franchises, you either love them or you hate them. And, for a lot of the fan bases out there that don't care for the Lakers or don't support them, I'm sure they're enjoying their moment. And obviously, unfortunately for Laker fans, this is going to be 6 years in a row that you don't make the postseason. So we don't really have too much to talk about. But, this season, just the way I think everything just played out, literally anything you could thought of that could have gone wrong for the Lakers happened. And it's just one of those years. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked that in the summer we have some good things come our way, and maybe things get turned around by the time next season rolls around.
Yeah, I sure hope so. And when I look at the reaction that the Lakers get, the bottom line is that they do get a reaction. If you get any kind of reaction, that's a good thing. The worst thing is if there's just nothing. So you gotta like that. You gotta like that they still kind of carry that weight around the NBA. But Alan, when we're looking at everything that's going on with this Lakers team, there was an article that came out today on Bleacher Report by Howard Beck, and in his piece, Beck is comparing the 4 franchises in the 2 biggest markets in the NBA. We're talking about Los Angeles and New York. So he's looking at the Lakers, the Knicks, the Nets, and the Clippers. And you have the Lakers and the Knicks are the older franchises, the ones that are the standards. Knicks have not been good for a while. The Lakers have been struggling recently. The Clippers and Nets were kind of the teams that everybody just beat up on for a long time. And now Beck is actually putting the Nets and the Clippers ahead of the Lakers and Knicks, and he quotes a number of different NBA people who are around the league, whether they're general managers or whatever, who have the Nets and Clippers as being more interesting landing spots for free agents than the Lakers or the Knicks. And he has the Knicks basically in last place. What do you think on that? What's your take on all of that? Why? I mean, this is, I guess it's part of piling on the Lakers, but is that a real thing? I mean, do the Nets and Clippers, do you think they've jumped up enough to where they are a more desirable destination for a free agent, for a star free agent, than the Lakers or the Knicks are?
Well, I think when they start asking people around the league and they ask GMs and they ask other owners, I mean, it's very, very obvious. Many franchises, many front offices want to see the Lakers fail.
Yep.
You can either see that behind the scenes, or you could kind of, it's pretty transparent too. And the Lakers are, let's use this Anthony Davis trade that was the Lakers
right.
were obviously trying to make. There's a lot of extra noise that went into play that wasn't just coming from the Pelicans. It wasn't just coming from the Lakers. So it's tough for me to listen to other people in the league that don't want to see the Lakers succeed. I will say this. Last I checked, Lonzo Ball's pretty talented. Brandon Ingram's pretty talented. Kyle Kuzma's pretty talented. Josh Hart, LeBron James was still 28-8, this season. You still have cap space for a max salary slot. Yes, did the Lakers make mistakes this year? They did. They also were probably the most injured team of any team out there as far as, the starting lineup that they wanted to have in. So to think that the Clippers or the Nets is a better landing spot, that's still a tough one for me, because if somebody comes and takes the Lakers' money, I still don't think they're that far away from competing in the Western Conference. And if that momentum grows just a little bit with the Lakers, that's a whole different gorilla than it is with those 2 franchises. Now, I can see where right now, looking at the Clippers and looking at, the Brooklyn Nets, it's very, very easy to kick the Lakers when they're down. I'll still take my chances with the Lakers. And the original plan from Magic and Pelinka was two All-Stars through free agency. They got one last year. Let's see if they can pull it off this summer.
Yeah, they'll have the opportunity to fix this very, very quickly if they can make the right moves this summer. Now, I think that's where Beck is mentioning, look, there's a lowered confidence that the Lakers are going to make the right moves, even if they land that other star, that they're going to bring in the right pieces around those players in order to kind of make the leap and make that leap to being a contender. But, I always fall back on, look, it's easy, as you said, it's easy right now to sort of feel like the Lakers are terrible and pile on them and say all these terrible things. But the bottom line is, when Kyle Kuzma, Lonzo Ball, LeBron James, and Brandon Ingram, when those 4 guys, who were the 4 main pieces for the Lakers this season, when those 4 guys took the floor together, which happened 23 times this season, they were 15-8. That's a playoff team. They were incredibly unhealthy. And yes, teams deal with injuries all the time, but what happened with the Lakers this season is not just, hey, they got a little banged up. This is an injury plague like we've rarely seen.
Yeah, you know what else, Trev? It reminds me of this as well, and it's fair. This is what's happening right now with a lot of Laker fans too, who are taking shots at their own franchise, more because they're frustrated. They obviously want to see the Lakers win, but this is an important summer, and there's a reason why Julius Randle's not on this team. There's a reason why D'Angelo Russell's not on this team. Ivica Zubac's, pretty much all these young players that the Lakers. There's a reason why they're not on this team, and that reason was for them to land an all-star this summer. So like you just mentioned, and I mentioned, it's easy to take shots at the Lakers right now because they're down. But the reality is this. They can clean this up this summer. And I'm not telling you that it's going to happen. What I'm telling you is that they still need this summer to see if they can figure it out. And hopefully, it's not just the front office, but it's LeBron. It's everybody on board trying to get that right player and the right roster to surround these young kids with.
Well, I'll tell you, Alan, LeBron, to me, let's talk about him for a minute. He has said the right things about wanting to turn things around and not really piling on and saying, oh, this is, this person's fault or that person's fault or anything. He said, no, I came here and I'm committed and I want to turn this around and I want to, I want to help this franchise win, and that's all this franchise wants to do. Rajon Rondo has spoken very, very highly of the franchise as well in terms of how they treat their players and everything. I think these guys are committed to playing winning basketball here in Los Angeles. And there's been some questions lately about whether or not any of these top free agents this year would want to sign up to play alongside LeBron James. And LeBron himself, in that Beck piece on Bleacher Report, shrugged that off, said no, he's very confident that people will still want to come play with him, even though he's getting up there in years. He's 34 years old. The team struggled this season, all of that. How do you see the LeBron factor coming into play? Because as Beck notes, he says, look, if a guy just flat out wants to win next season, you probably go to the Lakers because they have LeBron and the other teams don't.
On the basketball court, I did this on my show on Monday. I just basically kind of graded LeBron's first season as a Laker. I gave LeBron a C. And the stats he puts up, I can't argue. The 28, 8, and 8 is as good as anybody's going to put up. But I thought LeBron can do a better job in some different areas, and one of those was leadership. And I think this first season for LeBron James was a little bit of an awakening as well, in the sense that you're playing for a franchise. All they care about is what you do for the Los Angeles Lakers. Nothing else matters. And, oh, by the way, if you're going to be a part of this franchise for 3-4 years, do everything that you possibly can to, obviously help this team and this roster be successful, because if not, all the fingers are going to be pointed directly at you. So I think LeBron James, with another All-Star, has already shown he can win NBA championships. He's got 3 of them. He went to the finals a number of years in a row when he was doing it in Cleveland. The right player and the right free agent playing with an unselfish basketball player that fills up the stat line is one of the most knowledgeable basketball players ever to play the game. I think it would be a good fit for the right player, and I'm sure a lot of guys who are just basketball players who are free agents know that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. He's an easy guy to fit around, right? Regardless of who you are. And I want to get into the top free agents and who you think might be heading to the Lakers or might be a good fit for them. But first, I do want to talk real quick about Bet Online. Guys, it's another huge month across the sporting world. In the NBA and NCAA, March Madness is still going on, and there's only one place to get in on all the action. That's betonline.ag. You can support this podcast by going to clnsmedia.com/LeBron. The guy we've been talking about, clnsmedia.com/LeBron. Use the promo code CLNS50 and you actually get a 50% sign-up bonus. So that's pretty much a no-brainer. Okay, CLNS50, that's the promo code. Get a 50% sign-up bonus. Go to clnsmedia.com/LeBron and sign up for betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts. So, Alan, looking at the crop of free agents, the main names that we're hearing right now, Jimmy Butler, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving. These are the big ones that we're hearing about. We're also hearing a little bit of DeMarcus Cousins, a little bit of Kemba Walker. I don't think I left anybody out there. Maybe I missed one. But is there anybody that you think is more likely, based on what we've heard at this point, to jump over and become that Robin to LeBron's Batman?
Here's my confidence. My confidence is I never thought LeBron was going to come to the Los Angeles Lakers. So I went into last season saying, like, all right, I can't see LeBron coming to play for the Lakers just because of the predicament, the situation that they were in. You weren't going to compete for a championship right when you came. So I didn't think LeBron was coming. That gives me hope for this summer because a lot of those names that you mentioned, really haven't been reported that will come to the Lakers. Kawhi Leonard may stay in Toronto. Maybe he goes to the Clippers. Kevin Durant, maybe he goes to New York. Maybe he stays with the Warriors. So I'm a little fearful of some of these top players. But I think there's some interesting names there, and I think we really have to see how the playoffs play out. If the Toronto Raptors were eliminated in the first round, maybe Kawhi Leonard is looking at different situations. If Chris Middleton and the Milwaukee Bucks go to the finals, maybe Chris Middleton says, why would I go anywhere? I'm going to stay right here in Milwaukee. So I think there's a number of players, including Jimmy Butler, including Tobias Harris, DeMarcus Cousins, like you mentioned with the Warriors. A lot of these names that are unrestricted free agents or have player options, a lot of them are going to be in the postseason. I think that will weigh on what their decision is this summer. The only player I think that won't be in the mix is Kemba Walker, obviously with Charlotte. They won't be in the playoffs. And players that I like, that I think might be realistic, I'm still a fan of Jimmy Butler's game. I think he, the fact that he plays defense and he plays offense, and I think he could come in and be an immediate help to the Lakers where, obviously it's important right now with what LeBron's got in his contract or what he's got left in his career. But, of course, the no-brainers, the KDs, the Kawhis, these are the best players in the world. I just don't think those guys are going to be going. I can see that second-tier all-star coming to the Lakers, which, by the way, you take it in a heartbeat because all those players are very, very talented.
Well, let me ask you this about Jimmy Butler. We've had this discussion with Jazz Kang on the Lakers Nation postgame show a number of times when people have been asking us about this very topic, which free agents could come to the Lakers. And whenever Jimmy Butler comes up, we always get into his age, right? He's going to be turning 30 before next season. Would you have any hesitation to locking him up on a max 4-year deal, knowing that it would take him through age 34? Or would you go ahead and do it because he's Jimmy Butler and he's that good?
I would do it, and I'll tell you why. 34 is not 38 or 36. I think there's a big difference in age in the NBA when it comes to those 2-3 years. That's number one. Number two, if in 2 years it's not, a perfect deal, it's not an unmovable contract where a team that's competing for a playoffs, that wants a veteran, feels like a Jimmy Butler can take them over the top, and there's only 2 years left on that contract. The first 2 years of those 4-year deals, that's when those contracts are the toughest to move or they're most important. For the Lakers, we know that Jimmy Butler, if he gives you 2 solid years, that's pretty much your window with LeBron James anyways.
Right.
I wouldn't be too concerned with the 2 years prior because that's a contract that I could either move or he's still an effective player and the Lakers keep him. And he's not taking the throne of LeBron James. He's just one piece to multiple pieces that the Lakers have. Would
you be concerned with the he's a little bit of a quirky character. You've got the mileage and the combination of the personality. Do either of those things worry you? I mean, he came up under Tom Thibodeau. We know he throws a ton of minutes at guys. Between those two things, was that a concern to you at all? Or are you still 100%?
I don't like the three teams in 18 months.
Right.
I don't know, what exactly was the situation in Chicago or Minnesota. But I think he's a well-respected player in the NBA. I think he's a gritty player that all he cares about is winning. And if I had to choose between Kawhi Leonard or Jimmy Butler, it's a no-brainer. If I had to choose between Klay Thompson or Jimmy Butler, it's a no-brainer. The problem is I don't think you have much to choose from. So I think if you're fortunate enough to get a Jimmy Butler, you take advantage of it because you don't have 3-4 players that are lined up asking to come play for the Lakers.
Yeah, beggars can't be choosers in that situation. He's not your plan A, right? But if he's your plan B, that's a pretty damn good plan B if you're getting a guy like Jimmy Butler who's that high of a quality. You mentioned some second-tier guys. And when we look at that, a lot of people have been asking me, what happens if the Lakers don't get those guys? Jimmy Butler stays in Philly. KD goes to New York. Kyrie goes to New York. The Clippers get Kawhi. These dominoes fall that way, and the Lakers find themselves, the music stops, and the Lakers find themselves without a chair at the superstar table there. So what do you look at a guy like a Tobias Harris, Nikola Vucevic, these second-tier guys, Chris Middleton? Is that, if you go get one of those guys, is that still a successful summer for this Lakers team that badly needs to bring in some more firepower?
I still think it's successful. I mean, those are good players. I mean, I know they're not the top notch, but one of those players with the right role players, with the young vets, with the young Lakers hopefully healthy, you're going to be part of that playoff picture, and hopefully you're in a position then where you have enough assets where you can make a move. It doesn't have to be everybody. I mean, what was going on before the trade deadline, I think, was unprecedented. Where first of all, that it was that widely reported and that much known what was going on, but also to just offer that much, I think, was not something that you see every day. So I do think that even those second-tier players can be a huge factor for the Lakers, and then they could still, they still got so many of these assets, they could still make other moves that can help them get more talent. Not just more talent, but the right talent.
I think that if you're going to go after a second-tier guy, I think that's where the age becomes an even bigger factor. Because if you're going to get a second-tier guy, you want to have that upside to where he could become what some of these top-tier guys are eventually, rather than a second-tier guy who was he's already hit his ceiling. And so when I think about that, and I think about, okay, I want a second-year guy that still has some room to grow, like Nikola Vucevic. He's been phenomenal this season.
Yeah,
right. He's been incredible, but I don't know that he goes much farther than where he's at right now. But the guy that I've liked for a long time, Tobias Harris, 26 years old right now, be 27 next season, be just getting into really the prime of his career, so versatile. I feel like he doesn't get enough credit out there, and I'd imagine the Sixers are going to do everything they can to keep him, but I certainly wouldn't be disappointed to see him suiting up in purple and gold. No,
listen, I go back to this because I believe it when I say the names you just mentioned, the Kemba Walkers, the Jimmy Butlers, the Chris Middletons, these are really, really good basketball players. Are they Hall of Famers? No, they're not, but they're integral pieces when you're building this roster. And by the way, it's not like you get one of those players and you're done. You're not. You still have, like I mentioned, you have a bunch of assets that you can kind of try and figure out what do these assets stay? What do these assets can we go out and try and get another all-star caliber player, maybe a similar type of player like these second-tier ones that we're talking about. Now you're building something. So I think there's a lot of value in those players that you were just referring to, and I think if the Lakers did get one of those players, I still think it's a good summer with the right role players that come with them.
Alan, let's jump to Luke Walton. Let's talk a little bit about him. I've been accused of being too favorable to Luke. There's a lot of Lakers fans out there that aren't big supporters of Luke Walton at this point. And so, Alan, I'm going to ask you this. Not will Luke be back. I'm asking, in your opinion, should Luke Walton be back next summer or next season?
I'm gonna preface a couple things here because I think I think the conversation of, well, Luke's got to go. I think that it's kind of a lazy one to just think that the problems the Lakers had this year was just on Luke. Now, I'm also not going to sit here and tell you Luke was perfect or Luke has the experience where he knows what to do and when to do it and how to do it, because we know that's not the case as well, just because he's 3 years into his coaching career. I think I'm falling under I'd be much more shocked if Luke is coaching the Lakers next season than if he wasn't. And that's not to say it's Luke's fault. It's this regime that changed and the game plan changed 2 years into his coaching career. So they may very well change the coach because the rest of the plan changed. If you look at the Lakers right now, under Jim Buss and Mitch Kupchak, the only player that remains and coach is Brandon Ingram and Luke Walton. That's right. It. Nobody else is left from that regime. Should Luke go? Look, if that front office thinks they have a better coach that can get these guys to do what maybe Luke's not able to do at this young stage of a coaching career, well, then the pressure is going to continue to be more and more on Magic and Rob Pelinka to make sure they deliver. In year one, they didn't deliver. No one really delivered. I don't know if I have an answer if he'll come or go, but I will just tell you that I'd be much more shocked that he stays than if he goes.
Yeah, I would be too. It feels like the writing's on the wall because, look, here's my thing, Alan. The rumors have been flying. We're starting to hear names. We're starting to hear Tyronn Lue. We're starting to hear, Mark Jackson, Jason Kidd, and that's been there to an extent, right? But I mean, look, Jason Kidd was on TV just a week ago, just about openly campaigning for the job, hoping
for the job.
Yeah, right. He's trying to be the next coach, right? So you've got that happening. right? And all the Lakers would have to do is come out and say, no, Luke's our guy. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If that was the plan right now would be the time to come out and say that and show that support and kind of put a stop to all of these rumors and shut that down, but they're not. And I think the fact that the silence says a lot.
And you know, Trev, from the beginning, this is the one thing that definitely did bother me. Beginning of the season, it felt like, he was already on the hot seat. Season hadn't even started yet, or you're a few games in, he was already on the hot seat. One of the things I think this front office never did was give him the vote of confidence that, listen, you coach the way you need to coach. You don't worry about anybody else. You don't worry about us. You do you. And I wish Luke, and this might be one of those learning experiences for him, that when he is at another job or he is coaching another team, part of him is just going to say, you know what, screw it. I'm going to do it my way. And if I go down, at least I went down my way, rather than trying to kind of accommodate to the franchise or the front office or specific players. But they never really gave him that support. And so I always felt like, and I've said this a few times, I've probably even talked about it with you, going into the season, he had the toughest coaching job in the NBA, and it wasn't even close. And he was never going to get credit if Lakers won, and he was always going to have the finger pointed at him if the Lakers lost. Lakers lost, the finger is being pointed at him, and he probably doesn't have a job a week from now.
Well, and that's what people have been saying is the downside of playing alongside LeBron James for a free agent. They're going to look at it and say, gosh, look at all the abuse Kevin Love took, or Chris Bosh, or those, his supporting cast. Those are the guys that are going to take the blame. It's not going to be LeBron. And the same applies to coaches as well. And so, yeah, you're right. Luke didn't really get a fair shake this season. He was just dealing with all of these injuries. It's been one thing after another with trade rumors and players coming and going because one guy's hurt. As soon as one guy gets healthy, another one's hurt. There was no system, but at the same time, like you said, Luke hasn't been perfect. But I kind of wonder, you look at what's happened with the young guys. Ivica Zubac doing good things with the Clippers. Julius Randle putting up 21-9 now with the New Orleans Pelicans. D'Angelo Russell was an all-star. All of these young players, young personalities, as they've moved on, they've succeeded elsewhere. Might the same be true of Luke? Are the Lakers going to move on from him just to watch him find success elsewhere as well? And so I wonder if we're kind of perpetuating this cycle of maybe giving up on younger players and now a younger coach a little bit too early.
The front office, most definitely has a vision, and they're sticking to their vision. And I don't think, they don't care what I think or what you think or what anybody thinks, really. At the end of the day, they have a vision of how they feel they can start competing for a championship. And part of that vision included all these players that you just mentioned off the roster. And there might be more of those players, and coach might join them as well. We're going to find out if this vision has some truth to it, if it can be realistic, or if it was a dream they had that just never came to fruition. We're going to find out here. Really, I think this summer, I said it a couple different times, make it or break it summer for Magic. And I'm not saying Magic's going anywhere. What I'm saying is this project with LeBron will either take a big step forward or a big step back this summer.
Alan, that's a great point. When you mention Magic, the first thing I always go to is, Paul George, he said no before actually meeting with the Lakers. And I think part of that, and this is just me speculating, I think part of that is it's not easy to say no to Magic Johnson, especially when you get face-to-face with him. I mean, this is why Magic Johnson was brought in, was to land the big fish. And so it's going to be a real test here, but I have to feel a little bit confident at least that, look, if you get Magic Johnson in a room with Jimmy Butler, with Kawhi, with whoever, he's going to sell that Lakers experience. He's going to be able to close the deal. And that's the hope. Right. They bring in LeBron. Can he do it again this summer? That's going to be the big turning point for this team, because if he can, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, the negatives that we're hearing, those kind of go away if you're able to bring in that other star. So I at least have some confidence. Look, if you can get them in the room, I think Magic Johnson can close at least one of these guys, somebody, and bring them in to be LeBron's second fiddle, or whatever you want to call him, be that piece that's going to push you over the top. How confident do you feel in Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka right now? Because it has been a bit of a rocky road this season overall, despite landing LeBron.
So before I say anything about Magic and Rob, this summer, who needs to be in that room as well is LeBron. And listen,
that's a great point.
You need Magic and LeBron in that room talking about that vision, because Magic can talk about a vision, big picture. LeBron can talk about what's going to happen on the basketball floor. He can talk about what happened this season, what his vision is, things he could do better. Whoever your coach is going to be, he should be in that room as well. I mean, these guys have to all seem like they're interlocked together as one chain, because this season it didn't seem that way. And there were holes in that foundation and that concrete that most definitely showed. So Magic is, obviously a big piece of making a lot of this stuff happen. But LeBron James is just as powerful as a piece. And if a player out there is sold on Magic and LeBron's vision, then the Lakers are in good shape. And if they're not sold on that, then, this becomes a team of individuals. And we all know that if you're a team of individuals, then you can't have any success. In regards to the confidence in Magic and Rob this summer, there's definitely a prove it. Like you've the talking has been there, the vision has been there. This year we're back, next year we're back. It's the Rob Pelinka saying, if we make it to the playoffs, nobody's going to want to face us in the 7-game set. Well, none of that vision happened. So I think, I have confidence it can happen, but is my confidence much less than it was a year ago? It is, number one. And number two, you need to see what the proof has got to be in the pudding. It can't just be in the talk. So I think there's still a lot to prove. And I think a lot of Laker fans are kind of sitting there saying, well, we get what your vision is. Now go make it happen.
Yeah. You know what? I think when I look at this summer, I think, gosh, the margin of error, because of the issues with last season and the way they built the roster, the way they constructed it, that's cast some doubt around this team. Jeannie Buss mentioned it recently. She was on a podcast and mentioned that she had some doubt in some of the people that are working for the team, and whether or not this is going in the right direction. And that's fair at this point. But the moves that they made kind of make you scratch your head. The Ivica Zubac thing. I mean, you got fleeced by the Clippers, right? That's what happened. That's a bad look. Even though it's not a major piece, but that's still a bad look. So the margin for error for them this summer is minuscule, but that opportunity is still there. They can turn this around because they gave out so many one-year deals that now they kind of get a do-over on last summer, and we'll see if they learn their lesson, if they make good choices with their player acquisitions, who they go after, and if they do, like you've been saying all along, Alan, this really can get back on track very, very quickly. As much as we're feeling the doom and gloom right now, come July, that first week, Lakers Nation could just be going crazy if they're able to swing a few of the moves that we've been talking about here.
Well, I mean, Trev, look, sometimes, we could use this like in life philosophically. When you feel like you're at your most down, things just kind of naturally turn around and they go up, and that can kind of work vice versa. So I just say that because things can turn around for the franchise. Is it a guarantee? Absolutely not. It's definitely not a guarantee. But losing is part of the process. Failure is part of the process. And this front office and the Lakers under Magic and Pelinka this year failed miserably. That happens. But Magic has been successful enough, as has Rob, as has Jeannie, as has LeBron, that they know that part of success is failure. So if this year things didn't work out as planned, and a lot of predicaments and the injuries and, just so many things went against the Lakers. It happens. How can you regroup? And it's really more about what you do when things are down that, really can give Laker fans the most confidence. If they come out of this, it's because they, no matter what predicament or situation, know that they got another shot. They still have an opportunity to kind of turn this thing around.
Alan, I'll tell you what, that opportunity is what is keeping Lakers fans going right now, knowing that they will have a chance to fix this. And, we started this show by talking about how it's kind of hit that point where it's a little bit of a grind. People are kind of ready for this season to end. But I'll tell you what I go back to. Each of these last few seasons has been tough. right? The team hasn't been very good. They haven't been making the playoffs. And you hit this point right now. Everybody's kind of worn down and all of that. But I'll tell you what, after about a week, okay, about a week after the season's over, I'm going to start missing Lakers basketball again. It's about all it takes for this season to kind of just get washed away. And then you feel that again. You start feeling like, man, I can't wait for Summer League. I can't wait to start seeing this team again. I can't wait to see how they rebuild it, how they go from here. And I think there's a lot of fans that feel that way. That yeah, it's frustrating right now, but that excitement's going to come back real quick, especially if Magic and Rob can capitalize. So I know that even though we get negative sometimes, we're hopeful that this is going to turn around and that it's going to turn around real faster. I know you're with me on that, Alan.
Well, I mean, listen, there's going to be chatter over the next couple of months all around the Lakers, even as the playoffs just kind of go. And Trev, you know, you're a fan, I'm a fan. So there's most definitely the moments where you feel the highs, the lows, and everything else. I will say that, you know, we're kind of more fortunate because it is the Lakers. And a team like the Phoenix Suns can be down for many years. Orlando Magic can be many years, and things don't change. You know, we were just talking about, think about, you said that article, Howard Beck, the Clippers, the Brooklyn Nets, the New York Knicks. I mean, just think about those franchises' history. So we have been very fortunate to have some of the success that we just watch as fans with the Los Angeles Lakers, and now, you know, we just want to see some of it come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's time. It's time for that to come back. We thought it was this season. Didn't happen. Hopefully it's going to be next season. Alan, thank you so much for joining me on this show. I think we covered a ton, and given where the team's at right now and everything, I hope that we had a nice mix of both some constructive criticism on where the team's been at, as well as some optimism for the future here.
No, I always enjoyed it. You know, at the end of the day, Trev, it's like you and I can talk from a perspective of just, you know, from a Laker perspective, but a fan perspective. The world's not going to end. There's a lot bigger problems in the world than Lakers basketball, but it would be nice to see them have a nice offseason so we could continue watching some good basketball again.
It definitely would. Alan, guys, make sure you go follow Alan on Twitter at Lakers Talk ESPN. And I should have pulled this up already. Alan, are you at Lakers Talk ESPN on Instagram as well?
Yeah, same handle.
Okay, so at Lakers Talk ESPN on Instagram also. And of course, listen to Lakers Talk with Alan Sliwa on ESPN LA 7:10 a.m. Great show. Alan always has a ton of awesome stuff to discuss. Wonderful guests, all of that. It is one of my must listens. So again, Alan, thank you very much for joining me, and we'll definitely have to do this again sometime.
Appreciate it, Trev. Thank you, man.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. Make sure that you head over to LakersNation.com, your home for everything Lakers, where we break down all the latest Lakers news. And, of course, check us out on YouTube, the @LakersNation YouTube channel, and on Twitter, we are at Lakers Nation. On Instagram, we're at Lakers Nation Official. On Facebook, we are Lakers Nation. If you want to follow me, my name's Trevor Lane. Follow me at Trevor_Lane on Twitter and at Trevor Lane NBA on Instagram. We'll be back soon with a whole new show talking about the final days of the Lakers season. Till next time, see ya.